So I was up last night waiting for the results. I didn't have to stay up too long to see the results. They called the race pretty early. There was a significant gap. It was definitely worse this year than it was last year for Nina Turner. I'm going to get into the actual vote count in just a second. But I do have to start off this dialogue by saying this. I hate to say it, but we told you so. I saw people, kind of crying and people kind of losing their minds on social media. And I hate to say it, but we told you so. In fact, one person in particular, JB, my comrade from RBN, used to be FHL. He tried to tell people. Now, JB tweeted this on April 19th. Nina Turner is going to lose. Not because I want her to, but because the reality is that she's running in a party where they don't even want any true centrists to gain power. Then many of you will blame us on the left for her loss. You need to look inward instead. JB was right. Now, some other people retweeted this, and I'm not going to get into that whole jazz. We talked about this before, but retweeted it and kind of, I guess try to defend Nina Turner. And JB wasn't trying to attack Nina Turner. JB was just pointing out something that those of us over at RBN, we knew this was going to happen, but it seemed to be a big shock to some people on social media. I think everyone who doubted this, especially who tried to come after JB for this tweet, need to give JB an apology. I'm sorry, but call it like you see it. Call it like you see it. And he was right. Now, several people had things to say about this. Of course, Jink Uger was one of them about Nina Turner's loss last night. And I have two clips I want to play from this, and I'll chime in between, and I'll give you my opinion about what really happened here. So let's get into that.
Because the Democrats don't like primaries. They squash the press in that, and they pretty much universally control the press. Why did Nina Turner lose? Look, I know for a fact that race before it began was actually really close, but she lost by a lot. So what happened? Well, what happened was Joe Biden came in and said, no, Shontel Brown, we like Shontel Brown. James Clyburn, Pelosi, others came in and said Shontel Brown. And as it turns out, that makes a giant, almost unbeatable difference. Why did they?
And I'm going to jump in here because what Jink just said just proved my point that I've been saying for quite some time. The Democratic Party chooses who they want, and that is who they get. The Democratic Party also chooses who they do not want. The Democratic Party decided they didn't want Bernie Sanders. They made sure that didn't happen. They decided they wanted Joe Biden. That's who they got. The Progressive Caucus and Joe Biden, Jim Clyburn, basically the entire Democratic Party, and that includes Mondaire Jones, who was supposed to be a progressive who donated money to Shontel Brown, decided that they wanted Shontel Brown and that they did not want Nina Turner. And this goes back to one of the reasons that I like to point to tell people why this strategy of reforming the Democratic Party does not work. Jink just basically told you what I've been telling you. But when he tells his audience that, I don't think he realizes the message that is coming across is that the Democratic Party selects who they want. So, knowing that that is the case and that's how this works, why would you think that trying to put progressives through the Democratic Party is actually going to reform the party? They just told you. They said it right here on TYT. I'll go back in. Let's hear more.
AOC beat Crowley because Obama and all the heavyweights and Pelosi and Schumer didn't come to back Crowley because they thought he didn't have a race, right?
The reason why AOC was able to beat Crowley is because They did not think, the Democratic Party establishment, they didn't think that AOC actually had a chance to win. That's why they didn't go to bat for him. They felt they didn't have to. But they adjusted. They adapted to the situation and they changed course. You see, when AOC won, when Cori Bush won the second time around, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, all of them that won the first time around, actually, and then Cori Bush came the second time around, same thing with Jamal Bowman. The Democratic establishment woke up and said, wait a minute, these progressives are actually winning. We got to change our game. We got to do something different. We need to get Jim Clyburn to go out there and talk to the Black community and go to the Black churches. Hello, that's what they do. We need to get Joe Biden to go out there and talk to the white people in the white suburbs. We need to get some of these progressives in the progressive caucus that are definitely not really progressive, but they're on the progressive caucus. We need to get them to actually go against the progressive candidate and promote the establishment candidate and convince the base that the establishment candidate is actually progressive. Now, I'm pretty sure when Bernie Sanders started the Progressive Caucus, this is not what he intended it to be. He was one of the co-founders. But he let the Democratic Party get a hold of it. And what they do when they co-opt something, they take it and they water it down. And that is what happened with the Progressive Caucus. I went through the list of people last night on the show, and I pointed out certain people that I damn sure knew should have not been a part of the Progressive Caucus. Democratic Party grabbed it and watered it down. Let's go back into the video.
Thought he was going to win easy. And so, boom, we beat Crowley. And so that has happened a number of times, but now the establishment is caught on. The media will slavishly do whatever establishment Democrats say. So they all said 1,000 times over, Shontel Brown is the Democratic pick, and so vote against Nina Turner. And it moved the numbers so that Nina Turner lost ground in this race.
See, this is one of the times when I actually agree with what Jink is saying. It's true. It actually matters. Did you know that? It actually matters when the party says this is who we want. That actually does make a difference. There's more to go into the reason why Nina Turner lost this time around as well. I'll get into that in just a second. But these things matter. The fact that you had AOC come in the night before and finally give an endorsement when she's been endorsing Jessica Cisneros for the past couple of months, went to Texas, promoted her. She announced endorsement and support for Jessica Cisneros the other day instead of Nina Turner. Now, Nina Turner is going to go into some things. I'll play that video in a second where she explains what happened with the squad and why they didn't come out and support her in reference to the Progressive Caucus, why the rest of them didn't come out and endorse her. I'm going to get into that. But this just goes to show you guys, like I said before, the reason why they did not come out and support, and go back and find that video I did a couple of days ago where I told people I am willing to bet they were already told not to support Nina Turner. The Democratic Party had already let them know, don't you endorse her. Don't you endorse her for the Progressive Caucus. Don't you endorse her on Twitter. And I was right. Let's go back in.
But that also tells you the answer is in the media. And so if you're counting around, you're dead wrong. If Nina Turner is unleashed and is actually Nina Turner, because she's been too careful in these races, give them what you got. And she said in that great speech, which she's still going, no, I'm gonna give them what I got. And so I look forward to that greatly. And in terms of why she didn't win, well, this time around, she had no backup. And that also hurts. So when people hear, oh, the Progressive Caucus didn't even back her. Even her top allies and friends in Congress didn't back her. That's devastating, because then it makes people think, oh, I guess I shouldn't vote for her. I thought it was even, but I guess it's not even. One side has all the endorsements, the other side doesn't. So let's call it what it is, because we're in the news business and we're honest with you guys. What progressives
said, we're in the news business and we're honest with you guys. Really, TYT? No. There's been several times when you have not been honest with your audience. But to the point, this has actually been brought up by multiple people about Nina Turner's campaign, where some people felt that her campaign, her message wasn't as strong as she was. Like the fiery Nina Turner that people were used to seeing on the Bernie Sanders, rallies and campaigns. They felt like when it came to her own campaign, they were not receiving that same Nina. They felt like it was mild, it was watered down, it wasn't as, I guess, passionate and fiery. And we talked about this over on RBN when she ran last year. When we saw the ads, it didn't seem like that was the same person. It seemed like it was watered down to fit what the establishment wants, to try to win over that base. Now, we can go into what this district is like, and we can get into that as well. But there were some things here that could have been done differently. Let's go into this part here, because there's something else that he mentions that I want you to hear as well. Here we go.
And so John makes a great point, and I've got to say this. Look, the point of Just Democrats when we formed it was to build a brand that was strong, progressive fighters. And they stuck together and they became a squad, right? And then they built on their power by making sure that they were united. And they fought back against the establishment. But if I'm being honest with you, and that's all I ever do, now they're at a point where they're in retreat. And they've lost what it appears to me from the outside, their will to fight.
When were they ever fighting, though? Aside from the stunt that AOC did when she first got in and she was, protesting outside Nancy Pelosi's office, when were they really fighting, though? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because there were several opportunities where them voting as a bloc really could have made a difference, and they chose not to do that. When did they really fight together as like a unit? I mean, Cori Bush said so herself. We're individuals. We vote for our districts. They didn't fight to force the vote for Medicare for all. They didn't fight against increasing Capitol Police funding. And that vote actually would have made a big difference. They went along with the establishment. They didn't fight against the Iron Dome bill. AOC cried as usual, but didn't really fight against. So I'm just trying to figure out if someone can give me some examples. When did they really fight for us, though? And Jink is going on to say they've retreated. Bro, they were never there. They were never really, he's acting like they were out on the battlefield and then they ran away. I'm trying to remember, when was the battlefield? When was it?
So, yeah, from time to time, they'll do fantastic things. Cori Bush on the steps of the Capitol fighting for people who are homeless. It was wonderful.
They got approval from Congress to do that. It's not like they went rogue and was just like, yeah, let's go out here and protest and fight for people being evicted. They got approval from Congress to do it. Like, that kind of takes the activist part out of it. That's like me going to the police department and saying, hey, I'm about to protest against the police. I just want to know if I have your approval. What? No, they got approval from Congress. They got approval from Nancy Pelosi to do it. They didn't even tweet it out. That's why there weren't that many people there. If they were really trying to cause a ruckus with all the millions of followers that AOC has on Twitter, why didn't she tweet it out and announce it? You know how many people would have came down to the Capitol? It was performative.
It's exactly what we built Justice Democrats for. AOC, when she did the original sit-in in Nancy Pelosi's office. But in this case, AOC.
That's the only moment you can really point to, was when she did the sit-in Nancy Pelosi's office. What else have they done?
I mean, to her half credit, came out in the last 24 hours and endorsed Nina Turner.
No, that's no half credit. You get no credit for that, because when it came down to the Progressive Caucus endorsement, as Mike said on the interview the other day that I played here last night, he told you not one of them was against voting for to endorse Shontel Brown. Not one of them. That included AOC. So her sneaking in and sliding in her endorsement for Nina Turner the night before Nina Turner's election, no, I'm not giving her half credit for that. That shit was too late. If she can go around here and she can endorse and she can support Jessica Cisneros and she can get on a plane and go to Texas and support and campaign for Jessica Cisneros, but she had to wait till the night before to say something endorsing Nina Turner, you got to see the writing on the wall. This is performative. She didn't even tweet about endorsing Nina Turner.
That a little too late? Of course it is. But at least she did it for whatever it's worth, right?
But she could have been rallying. She could have been giving
Of course, guys. Why? Because behind the scenes, Democratic leadership is intimidating the living crap out of them. Okay.
Behind the scenes, Democratic leadership is intimidating the living crap out of them. Okay. So this goes back to my point again. Then how are you going to reform the Democratic Party? How are you going to do that? If the party is threatening you, we're going to get into that in a second. If they're intimidating you, if they are preventing you from doing what you came there to do, to push back against the establishment, to try to change the party, then why are you there? What are you there for? What's the point now? If you can't fight back, you can't push back. You are one of them now. You're one of the establishment Democrats. This doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I know it for a fact. So I'm not saying that all of them aren't in a tough spot. They are in a tough spot. Yeah. But that's when you got to stick together and fight. Yeah. And why did I back Nina Turner so much? Why?
But they're not going to, Jink. That's the thing. They're not going to fight. Don't you see? Don't you get it? They're not going to fight. AOC, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, they've been in Congress how many years now? They've been there since 2018, or they won in 2018. They've been there a couple of years. If they're not fighting now, what makes you think they're going to fight in the future? They couldn't endorse their friend?
Why did I put everything into Nina Turner? Why did you guys put everything into Nina Turner? Because in Nina, we see a fighter. And by the way, we're loyal and we have principles. And I'm with Nina when she's up and I'm with Nina when she's down.
But this isn't about, it's not about being for or against Nina Turner. It's about the system that all of these progressive candidates are going into. What does it say? What does it mean? This is why I tell people you have this corporate money that controls the party. The party is going to do the bidding of their corporations and of their donors. That's what they do. Let's go back to Barack Obama. When Obama sat up there and he bailed out Wall Street instead of bailing out the American people. Why do people seem to not remember that? Why do people think the Democratic Party is going to be anything different today? It's not. It's bought. It's owned. I had enough of Jink. See, he's admitting things without even realizing he's admitting the same things that we've been telling you guys for a long time. He's admitting it. But after saying all of that, he's still going to tell you to vote for them. Come midterms, come 2024, he's still going to tell you to vote for those same progressive members who are not fighting and not doing anything for us. Watch. He's not going to tell you to stop donating to them, that's for sure. He donated over $25,000 of his own money into a PAC for Nina Turner. You know what that $25,000 could have done for mutual aid for people in this country? For people who are homeless, people who have medical debt, people who need to have surgeries, but they can't afford to do so because they don't have health insurance. So I'm seeing them have GoFundMe's on social media every other day. Think about what that money could have really done. All this money that we are pouring into these two-party system campaigns, they're not actually helping the people. It's just helping that person win. And when they get in office, they're not fighting for us. They're not doing anything for us. So what's the point? This is why I say if you are going to vote, you need to vote independent or vote third party. This is why. This two-party is done. Done. Concentrate on local politics. Concentrate on what you can do in your city, in your town, in your community. Talk to people on city council. City council, they have meetings all the time. You'd be surprised how many people actually attend those meetings. They're free. Go. Let's get into the other video. Let's get into it. Or should I show the poll first? I'll show the election results first. I'm going to show you the difference in the races here, and then we can get into some specifics. Now, this is the results from Shontel Brown and Nina Turner's race last year, 2021. Now, you have to keep in mind this was a special election, so they weren't expecting turnout to be high, and turnout was not high. But I want you to look at something here. Let's look at these numbers. So last year, Shontel Brown won by 50.18%. Nina Turner had 44.52%. Basically, Nina Turner lost about 4,000. 4,000 votes would have closed that gap. 50.18, 44.52. Let's look at what happened last night. Okay. Now, last night, with Nina Turner and Shontel Brown got 66.3%. Nina Turner, 33.7%. Shontel Brown got 43,997 votes. Nina Turner got 22,329 votes. This is a big difference. She got demolished. I'm not trying to be mean, but she got demolished. Guys, this is a difference of like 20,000 votes. Now, let's go back to last year. I want to show you the difference. Again, here, Nina Turner, 33.7. Last year, Nina Turner, 44.52%. She got 33,420 votes. This year, she got 22,329 votes. What this should tell you is that some of the people who voted for Nina Turner last year, this time around, did not vote for her. And I don't know if that's something that everyone is mentioning. Everyone keeps talking about the big dark money that came in, but you know that's going to happen with every election. With every primary, any kind of campaign, that's going to happen. We already know that money's going to come in. But that doesn't explain the people who voted for her last year that decided not to vote for her this year. I don't live in Ohio. But if I'm looking at this just based on the numbers, there obviously was low turnout again, but also this tells me that there were some people on the left that were not feeling it anymore. You could call it the depressed left, the side of the left that's just kind of like, I'm not really about to do this again. What happened to all of those people? Again, last year, 33,420 for Nina Turner, 37,666 for Chantel Brown, 50.18%. Now, let me see what happened with Chantel this year. Chantel Brown, 43,997, 66.3%. I seriously hope that this is a wake-up call for a lot of people. Whether you like Nina Turner or not, this really sends a message. And again, I know that she is in a district that is more liberal blue. It's not like a progressive blue. I totally understand that. There are some affluent areas in that district as well that sided with Chantel on the Israel issue. Although Nina Turner did try to appeal to that neighborhood as well this time around, it didn't seem to work. But what I'm saying is that something happened here. They were divided among 4,000 votes last year. This year, over 20,000 votes. Now, I agree the money is a problem. That's a big, big part of it. I agree there's negative attack ads, but guys, that happens with every campaign. But that is a big difference. And that also tells me that some people, especially particularly on the left, were not feeling it. We're not feeling it. All of those votes didn't go to Chantel Brown because Chantel Brown has 43,997 votes this year. And last year, Chantel Brown got 37,666. That's not even a 10,000 difference. 37,000, 43,000. That's not even a 10,000 difference. But there's a 20,000 difference between them this time around. So what happened to those other people? You guys see what I'm saying? Where'd all those other people go? Told you guys I like to look at numbers. Now let's hear what Nina Turner had to say about this. Jordan did interview her last night. Let's hear this.
What do you think happened tonight? Was it all money or were there other factors here?
Oh no, it was all money. Almost $3 million coming in the last 2 weeks. They know that we were winning this race. We had an incredibly strong ground game. We did field first. We've been knocking doors since February.
So Nina Turner says, we know that it was all money. They had money come in the last minute, but this happened last year too. This exact same thing happened last year. You know, when you're running against these establishment candidates, the money is going to be a big issue. You're going to have dark money come in. This is not a new thing in this game. I don't think it was just the money. I think that's a big part of it, but I don't think it was just the money. Let's go back in.
Commercials, they outpaced us 50-1 because I did not have the same level of resources that I had last time. We had a team that was different in many ways, and we went hard into the field, but we couldn't combat the onslaught of negative ads 50-1. So what we believe happened is that we had our voters out there, but some of them may have been turned off a little bit by the negative ad. I mean, they pummeled me with negative ads just like they did last time.
Do you guys think the people who voted for her last year were turned off by the negative ads that ran this year? Because they ran negative ads last year. I don't think the people who voted for her last year were turned off by negative ads. They already given their support for her. They knew who Nina Turner was. They know what she's about.
I am convinced that they would not have come in here. President Biden wouldn't have endorsed. The neoliberal would not have come in here. They knew that we were winning this race, and they called in a 911.
Biden didn't only endorse one other candidate other than Chantel Brown.
The entire country in a safe district. So it just really tells our movement, and my message right now is to the movement. The freedom fighting movement, we got to take the gloves all the way off.
But the gloves should have been off from the jump. The glove should have been off from the jump. I think Nina Turner's campaigns, I felt like it was too nice. It was too like mild. Like that wasn't the Nina Turner you were used to seeing on the campaign trail with Bernie Sanders. The glove should have came off last year. Take no prisoners. Take no prisoners. Come hard at Nancy Pelosi. Come hard at Joe Biden. Come hard at Chuck Schumer. You got to go after the establishment Democrats. It's not just about the Republicans. The people who are going to vote for the Democratic Party candidates, they already know what the Republican Party's like. They already know they're not going to vote for them. You got to tell them how bad the establishment Democrats are. If it were me, like, listen, I would never run for office because I don't want to put my family through that. But if it were me, I would come hard at Nancy Pelosi. There's so much you could come at her on. Go after these establishment Dems so people can see the big difference. That's the same thing with Bernie Sanders. He didn't do that either when he ran against Joe Biden in 2020. He didn't really go after Joe Biden hard like he could have. He was trying to be nice, trying to be friends with Joe. Look where that got us.
Talk about the gloves all the way off. You mentioned Pinos, P-I-N-O, progressives and names only. Let's keep it real. The squad did not come in here for you. AOC came in 5 minutes before. They had their reasons. We can't endorse an incumbent. Who are the Pinos? And did the squad and the broader progressive movement let you down?
I don't want to get into the squad. Okay, some of those women are my friends.
See? This is the same thing Bernie Sanders did. Well, I don't really, want to come hard at Joe. Joe's a very good friend of mine. No friend. You trying to win. Call them out. I'm sorry, I don't believe people are really friends in politics. I don't believe they're really friends. I think that they are friends of convenience. You're nice and friendly to the people that are going to do your bidding so that you can get on a committee, so that you can get a chair seat. I don't believe politicians are really friends like that. It's all about what they can do for you and what you can do for them. She was too nice to, even with the squad, even right now, like after you lost, oh no, take it all off. Take it off and just let it out.
Some people were threatened. Were threatened.
By who?
And, I don't want to get into the threats, but they were threatened. So, look, I want to lead them to the side.
No. So this is another thing. And I talked about this on Twitter, and I'll show that in just a second, where Nina Turner says that some people were threatened. What were the threats? What was said? Because if the threats were, you're going to lose your committee seat, you are going to lose access to certain people. If the threats were those kind of threats and they didn't fight back against that, squad bye. I'm sorry. What were the threats? Were these physical threats? Were they going to harm you kind of threats? Say it. Let it out. When she talks about progressives in name only, name them. Let it out. Don't be like, well, no, I don't want to name names. No, name the names so people can know to stop voting for those people. Why are you protecting the same people that wouldn't even endorse you, wouldn't even go to bat for you? After all that, Nina Turner is still defending the squad.
I will say that the Congressional Progressive Caucus was wrong. They were wrong, and I was really glad to see Congresswoman Jayapal in the Punch Bowl article kind of allude to they need to change the way that they do this. That came from the pressure of the movement itself. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been noticed. I mean, she did mention, the crypto billionaire coming in and that kind of thing, and maybe that's not the way we should endorse. The Progressive Caucus has got to show that they're different than the Blue Dog Caucus, because if they're not, then they might as well just go ahead and unite with them. But
they're not different. That's the problem. Not anymore. They're not different. I showed you guys the members of the progressive office of the blah, 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 blah. The progressive caucus. I showed you their pictures last night. They're not that different. Ted Lieu, Richie Torres, Frederica, however you say her name, Frederica Wilson. They're not progressive. They're not that different though. That's the thing.
I don't want to put this on. Let me say this to the movement. The movement has got to understand that the neoliberal types are not playing with us, so we can't play with them. That's it. And we got to be disciplined. We got to be united. And we cannot get off focus. Because the things that this movement is fighting for, Jordan, are beautiful for all people.
But what are we uniting over? I don't even know anymore. We couldn't even get people to come out to Medicare for All marches. We had people on the left smear us fighting for Medicare for All. I thought that was something we all wanted to fight for and we were united over, but apparently not. So what are we united over? What are the demands? I don't remember anymore. Are we still anti-war, or is that like a no-no anymore?
But we need more discipline, and we can't play games. And so I am committed to going all across this country and making sure that we get that message. And for those in the wealthier class that do support this movement, who do know that something is wrong with the system, we need them to bring it on in here in terms of making investments so that this kind of stuff doesn't happen again. I said that last.
But this brings up the class issue, which I love to talk about. The wealthier people are not going to do that. For the most part, most of them are not going to do it because they want to protect their capital. They want to protect their wealth. You need a movement of working class, poor, middle class. You need a movement of that. The wealthy people, as soon as times get too hard, they're going to be like, I'm done. I'm good. Look how easy it was for Bernie Sanders to walk away from his movement. Very few of them will stick with it and hang there and fight with you. Very few. But if you waiting on like the wealthy people to come in and save and help this movement, you're going to be waiting for a long time. They're going to look out for their best interests first.
Last year, right? It happened again because they fear me. I mean, it's just obvious. I mean, it is obvious. It's crystal clear. This black woman from Cleveland, $3 million, 2 weeks left in the campaign. And everybody, their mamas and their mama came up in here. But it's okay.
But that's another reason why you need to get money out of politics. And I want to say this again for those who, criticize the strategy that we have at RBN. If you want to put progressives through the Democratic Party and reform the Democratic Party, the first thing we should be doing is getting money out of politics. This is going to continue to be a problem. This problem isn't going to go away until you get money out of politics. Now, obviously, that takes longer to do. That is a longer strategy. So what do we say? We say flip the 80-20 rule. Instead of doing 80% electoral politics and 20% direct action mutual aid, flip it. Do 80% direct action mutual aid and 20% electoral politics. That's how a lot of things are won in this country. When people are fighting for rights, that was direct action. When you have direct action, you got to have some form of mutual aid as well. There are many mutual aid organizations and groups. You could do mutual aid on your own as well. We're going to do a panel about that to explain to people how to set up their own mutual aid group. But we really need to look at what the Black Panthers did and follow that model. That actually helps people in the community. Some people are going to be pessimistic about it, like, yeah, but look what happened to them. Look what's happening to us right now. Look what's happening to us right now. Continuing to go out and vote and nothing improves. Is your life getting better? Mine isn't. What is happening? For us to go stand in line for hours and hours to go to the poll and vote for the two-party system. In every election cycle, one says they're going to be better than the other. It's the same game every time around. It is time to do something different. Now, she's going to go into some plans for 2024, so listen to this.
Okay, when I tell you that my resolve, my resolve is strong.
Am I dreaming, or did you just announce a run for president?
Well, I said 2024, here we come. So I'm gonna leave that for other people's imagination. But I said California got something to say about this. Iowa got something to say about this. Nevada got something to say about this.
Well, let me ask you, would you consider running as an independent rather than in the Democratic primary if you ran?
I would consider that. Absolutely, I would.
Now, everybody remember that, because if she runs for president 2024, let's remember she said here she would consider running as an independent. And honestly, if she is going to run, she needs to run as an independent. Again, for those who don't, I want to say don't understand, who don't like this whole vote third party independent thing because you're like, oh, they can't win, they're not viable. You need to understand the strategy. The idea is not necessarily so that they go in and win. The idea is to go in, build up a movement, and take votes away from the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. That's the idea. The only way the Democratic Party is ever going to change is if you stop voting for them. And I say this to all of my fellow African-American viewers who are watching. We need to leave the Democratic Party. I left the Democratic Party. I don't belong to either one of them. I belong to the party of Sabs. It comes with tea, a smile, and every now and then some sass. But I left the two-party system. And I wish more people would just do that. Just leave it. They're not going to do anything for us. In fact, they need us more than we need them. I want everyone to really understand that. They need us more than we need them. Because without us voting for them, they wouldn't be in office. They wouldn't have a position. They need us. And I want us to realize that, internalize that, and really reflect on it.
All options are on the table.
You know, a lot of people thought Bernie should have ran as an independent, or at least when he lost in the Democratic primary, run as an independent. A lot of people feel Democratic Party is where ambition goes to die, and we just saw a poll where 58% of the country said they would vote for an independent.
I mean, the majority of, even Cuyahoga County, the majority of the voters identify as independent voters.
You heard that? It's true. The majority of voters were independent. We're independent. And yes, Bernie Sanders should have ran as independent in 2020. How you let the Democratic Party play you twice in a row? Come on. Don't be surprised if Bernie was threatened too, just like the squad. Don't be surprised.
Independent voters lean some way, and the two-party system has it. They got it on lock. What we have to begin to do is awaken the sleeping giants, and that's.
She just told you the two-party system has it on lock. The two-party system they have it on lock. How do you break the lock? Have to do something different. Johnson Emily said both parties are the same. There you go. Rob MM said Black Democrats won't leave the party until progressive can show they can win against Trump or DeSantis. Oh, interesting. Exactly
what I plan to do.
And my last question, you mentioned the pundits are going to talk and everything like that. If you run, the media is going to say, two-time loser, agitator, divisive, whatever. What would be your...
I remember the current president now ran 3 times.
That's a good point. That's true.
Can I just ask you from a...
That's true. But at the same time, they wanted Joe Biden this time around. They didn't want him the other time around. They had other plans, other ideas. JB said they also made sure to make progressives bend to their will instead of the will of the people. The squad was defanged and declawed. Thank you for the super chat, One Tall Girl 78. What are your thoughts on the lack of voting integrity rules and standards for party primaries and general elections? It's a big problem. Convo Couch has reported on this multiple times. It's a big problem. We don't really have election integrity in this country. That's something I really want people to acknowledge. You know, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but it is a reality. We don't have it. I think we need to have paper ballots, not machines, paper ballots, and they need to be hand counted. But even then, you got to watch people, we just don't have that here. Steven says Pelosi, the polling says the race is over. You can endorse Nina Turner now. AOC, okay, Mama Bear. Here you go. That's what they're taking their cues from. AOC told you herself when she went on The View. She said, oh, that's Mama Bear. We don't mess with her. See? Robin, hashtag the jink of death. Every candidate TYT has pushed has lost. Yikes. Kenshi said TYT are not honest news networks. LOL, jink is a hip-o-crip. Nation said AOC had that nice dress though. Right? Author, thanks so much for the super chat. Check the clip of Anna saying she's done with Dems, including the squad. She was pissed about Roe v. Wade. Yeah, I saw that clip, but I'm going to let you know right now, author. Anna's saying that, but she's still going to tell you to vote for them. Wait, November, watch. JB said, why would they even stay in the party? They can quit the party while being in office. They don't want to leave those perks, JB. They're paid now. Thank you for the super chat, AJF. Nina needs to go independent after what the Progressive Caucus and the squad did. They're disrespectful. Branding, you mentioned it about attacks on Dore. It was kind of decided after Force the Vote that some people were just like, okay, we're going to attack Jimmy Dore because he heavily criticized the squad. And I'm sorry, but after everything that you've seen, especially what you just saw with them choosing not to endorse Nina Turner, choosing not to help or speak out for her, can you blame Jimmy Dore? I'm sorry, but he was right. Just is what it is. Thank you for this super chat, AJF. 90% outside game, 10% inside, in my opinion, is required. Money talks, but the people walk. Let's protest all over the nation. Scare the S out of the elites. I agree. Thank you for that. Martha said, so glad I saw Sabby on Jimmy Dore's show. I love her in this show. Oh, thank you, Martha, and welcome. Nice to meet you. Martha, I sing on here sometimes. I hope I don't scare you. Nice to meet you.